Hello, everyone. Welcome back to History Buffs or Bluffs. We are your hosts. My name is Kyle.
And I'm Sydney.
You know this by now, but we are married, and I am a writer.
And I love to read.
I'm also a history buff.
And I am definitely not.
You're doing pretty good. Our podcast is a story-driven topic on an event that may
or may not
have happened in history. I'm going to either tell you a historical fact or spin a yarn. And at the end of the episode, I'm going to give Sid a chance to be a history buff or call my bluff.
What does spin a yarn mean?
Like tell a tale.
Okay.
Like an elaborate false story.
Okay. Hey, listeners. We want you to play along as well. Try not to look up the topic and see if you're a history buff, or you can spin Kyle's yarn. Or you could call his bluff. Okay, so Kyle.
Yes.
For the last several episodes, we've said you're a writer, but we've never talked about what you've written.
That's true.
So you should tell our listeners about your books.
Okay. Well, it all started when I was very young. I'm just kidding. I've written a lot of different things. I started in college when I was getting my degree. And the first book I ever wrote was a zombie book, you know very well. It's called New Dawn.
It is... How do I say this nicely? Let's just say you could tell it was his first book he's ever written.
Jeez. I did have to do some rewrites, some constant rewrites with that one, just because I was working on it while I was going through school. The next book I published was a romance.
Yes, that I asked you to write during COVID.
Sydney asked me. Yes, so that was just going to be for her, but
it was too good. I had to share it with the world. That one is called Home by the Harbor. All of these are available on Amazon, by the way.
And then after that, I did a 4-book series of a Western. I was trying to think of the next book to do because it had been a while after Home by the Harbor, and we were getting in a groove with our first kid. So I've always enjoyed Westerns. Grew up watching them, read a couple of the books, but that was something I've always wanted to try. So I did it. I started thinking of a story, a plot, and then that grew into 4 books. Mm-hmm. And that is the Silver Ridge series.
Y'all, this is a whole world that Kyle created. These books are amazing, and I'm so proud of him because he wrote, edited, and published 4 books in a year and a half while starting up his own business, while working 40 hours a week, and being the best dad ever.
Oh.
So, yeah, you should definitely check them out. The story is great. There's a lot of action. There's romance. There's mystery.
It's a bit of everything.
Yeah, it's a bit of everything. It has all the Western tropes, bank robbery, train robbery, lots of horses.
Lots of horses.
And a beautiful redhead main female character who is definitely not based off of me.
For those who don't know, Sydney has luscious red hair.
Shut up. Anyways.
Well, we are recording this on Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. This was our big plans for Valentine's Day.
Our Valentine's Days have changed.
They have. We started it by making pancakes for the kid. For the kid. Well, Sutton can't eat pancakes yet, so
she gets my pancake milk.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so we had some pancakes, drenched them in syrup, eggs, berries, all that good stuff. And then we are doing this, diving into our next topic. And I've been too lax on you, Sid.
What do you mean?
Because it's 3 and 2. you
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So I brought out the big guns this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Now, last week we stopped in 1918, the end of the First World War. So I thought it fitting that we move forward 1 year to 1919. And don't worry, Sydney, this episode does not involve war.
Ah, finally. Jeez. Only took you 6 episodes.
We'll take a break from war. It hasn't been every episode.
Every episode has had war, except for the dancing plague.
And the Cold War.
The Cold War was a war, kinda. And it was after the World War.
Okay. Yes. So we're taking a break from war.
Okay.
And our break is starting with the story of the Great Molasses Flood.
Molasses? Is that why you made pancakes this morning? There's no way this is real.
You're saying that already. This may be why I chose to make pancakes this morning.
Oh, interesting. You're playing the long game.
As you may remember, World War I was a devastating war.
We're still talking about World War
War.
You're literally talking about war right now.
I'm getting into it's a
syrup war.
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
No. It not only ended countless lives, but it displaced countries and wrecked economies. This brief time after was known as the post-World War I recession. The Treaty of Versailles, the ending of the war, was signed on June 28, 1919, exactly 5 years after Archduke Franz Ferdinand and Duchess Sophie were killed. To the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This treaty crippled Germany. They were responsible for the whole war, basically taking the blame for it, and they had to pay reparations to all of the Allied powers. This was also part of the catalyst for Hitler's rise, and maybe we'll discuss the life of Hitler one day.
Ooh.
I don't know if you've ever heard about him. He's a painter.
And he apparently served in World War I.
Yeah, you learned that.
I listened.
Now, most countries' recessions lasted years, but the USA's was very brief, only about 7 months. A more severe, often described as a Great Depression, wouldn't occur for another 10 years.
Oh, yeah, because we got to go in the roaring 20s first.
That's right. Fun fact, when you compare the cost of living and people's salaries to today, it was easier to afford a house during the Great Depression.
Don't even get me started. We are in an even greater depression. We are in the greatest depression. And when we are doing this podcast in like 20 years, we're going to refer back to this time right now
as the greatest
depression there ever was.
We're the first to say that.
The greatest depression there ever was.
Oh my gosh. It's the best.
It's the best. Of all of the depressions, I made the greatest depression there ever was. Okay, go ahead.
However, the Great Molasses Flood occurred right before this, nearing the end of that small recession that the United States felt. On January 15th, 1919.
That's the day before my birthday.
I have that noted here. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Did you choose that date because you made this up?
I guess we'll see. In Boston. Couldn't hold it. In Boston, a cold winter had its grip on the city, on most of the state of Massachusetts, and the people saw little reprieve. Since the start of the winter, the entire area was blanketed in cold and snow, with average temperatures of 2 degrees.
Ew.
Not as bad as Russia.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Nothing's as bad as Russia in the winter.
However, on this day, there was a sudden change. Temperatures rose to about 46 by noon on the 15th, and this caused the catastrophic event to occur. The Great Molasses Flood happened in a shipping warehouse near the harbor. The Purity Distilling Company, a subsidiary of the United States Industrial Alcohol Company, used the area and had large storage tanks. One thing they received often was molasses. It was fermented to produce ethanol, and this was used in alcohol and munitions, both of which were hot commodities at the time. At this harborside warehouse, the large storage tanks were available for commercial use, and Purity Distilling would offload the molasses from ships to store them in these tanks. They were then later transferred to their ethanol plant to be fermented. Now, these storage tanks were huge. They were all around 50 feet tall and 90 feet in diameter, and could contain up to 2.3 million gallons of molasses.
Jeez.
As I mentioned earlier, the temperature rapidly began rising in Boston and the surrounding areas, nearly a 40-degree change in only a few hours.
That's crazy. I don't think that's possible.
Believe it. As you may know, wood shrinks and expands with the temperature.
Yeah, I know.
That's the creaking sounds that you hear at night, and you wake me to go check on them.
Yeah. It's the ghosts.
It's the ghosts. A few days prior, a ship had delivered a new load of molasses. Now, the molasses was often warmed up before being loaded onto a ship. While it was warmer, it made it easier for transportation. But since it was so cold in Boston, the molasses that was stored was frigid. This warmer molasses was added to the cold batch in the storage tanks. Workers ignored the groaning sounds coming from the tank. This was nothing new. These tanks often groaned and creaked. Some even leaked, and it was an easy way for the low-wage workers to collect a bottle or two to take home. Better than paying 3 times that if you bought it in the store. Maybe people should have paid more attention to the groaning.
Uh-oh. I think I know what's going to happen.
If they knew more about thermal expansion, maybe they would have. Or maybe they would have gotten out of the way. But by noon that day, it was far too late.
No.
Witnesses reported they felt the ground shaking first. They probably thought it was an earthquake. After the shake, they heard a massive roar in the warehouse yard. The workers stared in shock as the 50-foot-tall storage tank containing millions of gallons of sweet molasses burst outward in an explosion of flavor.
Boo.
Rivets shot out, sounding like machine gun fire. Some of the workers had probably been on the front lines of the Great War. This sound would undoubtedly put them back into the war in their mind. Maybe they froze in terror or just disbelief at what they were witnessing. They could do nothing as a wave of sticky goop rushed at them like a tidal wave.
Ew.
Now you may be thinking, it's just syrup.
It's molasses.
It's
It moves slow.
It's just molasses. How bad could that be?
Yeah, it would move slow out, wouldn't it?
Well,
Because I tell you that you move like molasses because you take so long to do everything. So wouldn't it just all move really, really slowly?
you'd think. Now, you have to remember this tank could hold 2.3 million gallons, and it had just been filled to the brim with warm molasses. Now, I had to Google it, but the density of molasses is about 1.4 metric tons per cubic meter, or about 12 pounds per gallon. Do you want to do the math?
How would a tank hold that much?
It was a big tank.
Like, how big?
I told you earlier.
I don't remember.
It's 50 feet tall and 90 feet in diameter.
How would they transport that?
A ship. What do you mean? The tank doesn't move.
Uh-huh.
It's just there.
Okay.
And then it's put in the tank from the storage ships.
They move 2.3 million gallons
It could
into...
it could hold that much. I don't know how much exactly was delivered.
You don't know because I made this whole thing up. It sounds a little fishy.
12 pounds times 2.3 million is 27.6 million pounds.
There's no way a tank could hold that much weight without breaking.
Well, that's what happened. And this is about 40% more dense than water. That's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of weight and strength coming out of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of force behind this wave of syrup.
Yes. It's not syrup, it's molasses. It's different.
Witnesses reported the wave was nearly 40 feet high and rushed forward at over 35 miles per hour.
Yeah, right. Molasses doesn't move that fast.
People were quickly swept away. Streetcars were knocked over. Buildings were torn from their foundations, crumbling to pieces as the wave of Mrs. Butterworth spread throughout.
Oh my gosh. It's not Mrs. Butterworth. It's not syrup.
Spread from the tank. This is a serious thing, Sydney. You could not be laughing. The molasses.
You can't even get through it because it's so dumb. So far-fetched.
The molasses flooded several blocks of the neighboring areas, roaring through the city streets, collecting man, horse, and cars in its wake.
Horses?
Yeah. This was 1919.
This reminds me of that one movie where the horse gets stuck in the quicksand.
What do you think that was based off of?
And then it falls.
It was based off the Molasses Flood.
Do you remember that movie?
I've never seen it.
I cried when I watched it. I was at a sleepover when I was in 5th grade.
Okay. The most dangerous part of the molasses wave was the cooling of the fluid after.
Uh-oh.
In the
Did
initial
it solidify?
In the initial explosion, the syrup was warm, flowing out like a tidal wave. But once it settled, slowing to a pool of 2 or 3 feet, it quickly began to cool. This made climbing out of the gelatinous, sweet topping incredibly difficult for even an uninjured person. And everyone who got caught in that wave was injured from being tumbled down the street. It's reported many of the deaths were from drowning, their heads caught under the surface of the sweet, sticky waters.
That's really sad.
The devastation was horrible. The Boston Globe reported that people had been picked up by the molasses wall and hurled many feet into the air.
You can't even get through this without laughing.
Those who weren't in the blast zone smelled a rush of sweetness before the giant wave came bubbling around the corner, enveloping them as well. Trucks were picked up and thrown into the Boston harbor. Stop looking at me like that. Now, even though the weather had warmed up, it was still only about 45 degrees out, and that caused the molasses to cool even more quickly than people thought possible. None of what just occurred people thought could be possible, but they are now living through it. Hundreds had been caught up, crushed or injured in the assault of asphyxiating treacle. Animals were also caught in the tidal surge, horses and dogs alike.
You don't have to tell me that part. I'm the type of person that doesn't care about people in movies who die, but if a dog dies, it's game over. I hate the movie.
It makes it more real for you?
Makes it so sad.
No. In the months after, those who survived the flood had horrible coughing fits, some spitting up mouthfuls of sticky sputum.
These terms. Where'd you come up with these?
What do you mean? This is all history.
Yeah, okay.
Cadets on a nearby ship heard the explosion, seeing the rushing wave of syrup flood through the streets. They docked and immediately rushed to aid the injured. The molasses was knee-deep in many areas, and those witnesses reported seeing arms and legs sticking out of the quickly cooling liquid. Police, doctors, and nurses from a nearby hospital entered the flood zone, attending to the injured, helping the helpers, and keeping curious onlookers back from the destruction before them.
The It sounds like something straight out of Willy Wonka.
Wading through the syrup got more difficult as the sun dropped.
It's not syrup.
But the workers continued throughout the night. They searched for survivors and helped those who rescued for 4 days. It was reported that the dead were glazed with the sticky residue so badly that it was hard to recognize them. Eventually, the rescue efforts ended and the dead were counted. 21 people, over 150 injured.
That's crazy.
Dozens of horses and dogs.
I bet people woke up that morning not thinking that they would die from molasses.
Probably not.
Anything can take you out.
Yeah.
Live each day like it's your last, people. Because you could get taken out by molasses.
I'm trying to continue. People were horrified. People were outraged. And they wanted someone to pay for what happened to their city. One of the first ever class action lawsuits was made against the United States Industrial Alcohol Company. The company claimed the tank had been blown up by anarchists. Their reasoning was that the ethanol was used in munitions, and the anarchists were targeting them because of the war. It was believable, but the investigators didn't believe that. What they found was that the rise in temperature partially caused the tank to fail. While the everyday low-wage worker in the shipping yard didn't know about thermal expansion, scientists did. It was first discovered in the 1800s.
Oh.
This was only part of the problem, however. There was also a crack in a manhole cover at the base of the tank. This grew worse over the years, and the company put off fixing it as it would have delayed shipments. They had also neglected safety tests when the tanks were initially built, and ignored the constant groaning sounds that the tanks made.
This sounds like every other crazy disaster out there.
That could have been avoided.
Could have been avoided if you would have done all the right things.
Yeah. And the one who oversaw the construction of the tanks had no experience in engineering.
Oh, that's probably not very smart.
Yeah, maybe he was hired through nepotism.
Yeah, see, that's why you don't do that.
That's why you don't do that. The leaking of the tank was so bad that the low-wage workers were able to fill up multiple bottles a day to take home. To hide these cracks and limit the leaking, the company had employees seal and paint over them. They also used thinner steel than was required for a tank of that size because it saved money. Yeah.
Stingy little bastard.
They cut corners and ignored warning signs, and it cost 21 people their lives.
Oh, man.
Eventually, the USIA were found responsible, and after years of delaying, were forced to pay out more than $600,000. Roughly $11 million today.
Jeez.
Yep. Families of those killed received about $7,000 each.
That's
would
totally
be
not.
$127,000 today.
That's still not worth losing somebody that you
No,
love.
of course not. As a result of this disaster, many laws and regulations were changed in the construction world, including the requirements for an architect and civil engineer to oversee any large construction project, something that was not done for the tanks. So, despite being a tragic accident that should never have happened, some good came about that would prevent a second molasses flood from happening. Now, cleanup took months. The fire department had to use hoses from trucks and a fireboat to blast the hardened molasses away. The harbor was stained brown with the molasses for half the year. Rescue workers, cleanup crews, and even everyday citizens who heard about the atrocity and visited to watch tracked molasses through the streets. Subway seats, streetcars, payphones, even the floors of people's homes were sticky with the sweet-smelling syrup.
At least it smelled nice. Could have been worse. Like horse manure flood.
True. It was said that everything a Bostonian touched was sticky, and for decades after, the city smelled of molasses on hot summer days.
I feel like you're making this up.
Today, people don't hear about the Great Molasses Flood of
I've
1990.
never heard of it because I think you made it up.
But the people of Boston never forgot it. They often tell each other the legend of the flood of sweet syrup that hit their town. But
Oh no, you're going to say another cheesy line.
you have to tell me now, Sydney. Was this a history buff or bluff?
As I said before, this sounds like something straight out of Willy Wonka. And it seems too absurd to be true. But you could also be trying to trick me.
Could.
Because I would never think that this would be true.
That's true.
But it could be.
But it could not be. But it could be.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about this podcast. That's our whole thing. I feel like this is not true. I feel like you made it up.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
It was real.
No! Dang it! There is no way that was real. There is no way
it was real.
That was real. First of all, the tanks could not hold that much heavy of stuff.
Yeah, they did.
There's no way they wouldn't, like, safely check that.
They didn't. This was the 1920s
That's
almost.
not that long ago. That's like 100 years ago.
Yeah. Do you know how much safety regulations have changed?
I don't believe that 21 people died from molasses choking.
They did. Not just molasses choking. Remember, it's 12 pounds per gallon. There's 27 million pounds rushing at people.
That is terrifying.
It is. It was more dangerous than a tidal wave, what people were saying.
Crazy.
Because of how heavy it was. It was like it would crush your bones.
No way.
As it flowed through the city.
Molasses.
Yeah.
Molasses.
This is real.
So
and you were laughing about the deaths.
You were making me laugh. You had all these puns.
Well, I needed you to guess wrong. So.
Oh, you did it. Dang it. This is too wild to be true.
I know. I didn't think it was, but it is.
When did you hear about this?
I had never heard about this.
So how did you feel?
I was just trying to find a
crazy
obscure history fact, and I found one.
Oh my gosh. Why are we not taught about this?
I mean, Boston people might know.
Yeah.
Could ask Taylor.
Yeah.
Maybe she knows. Taylor
Reader. Shout out.
Shout out.
You listening?
Tell us if you know about it. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I know.
More so than the dancing plague. What did you think I was gonna guess? Fake, because you tried to trick me.
There's no way you were gonna guess it.
That I was gonna guess it was real.
Yeah, but you've guessed true every time before this.
Yeah, I know. I was changing it up, and also that didn't sound real.
That's why I had to do the craziest real story
Yeah.
to finally get a win.
Yeah.
And now it's 3-3. Yeah, I didn't think you were gonna get it.
That was crazy. So next time I tell you that you're like molasses, is that gonna be a compliment? Because you're like really strong and damaging,
dangerous,
and dangerous. Yeah.
Jeez.
Was the whole thing true, or did you make up things?
Wait,
all the doggies died?
Yeah,
No,
and horses.
No, stop. That makes me so sad.
That was real, yeah, all of it. I'm sorry.
The dogs didn't deserve it.
Jeez, the people didn't either. Yes, it was all true. The fault for the tank failing was because of the safety regulations and warning signs that were ignored, and the changing in temperature. It really did change about 40 degrees.
There's no way it could change 40 degrees in a couple hours.
Yeah. It rose that quick. It rises pretty quick.
Yeah, I guess.
It rises like 30 degrees here.
Okay, I guess we live in Colorado where it's winter in the morning and spring in the afternoon.
Yeah. I did hear a range of 25 to 50 feet for the wave of molasses that flooded out. But the first I heard was 40. So I just chose that. And I also thought you wouldn't believe it.
Well, yeah. Because it's not believable.
No.
That is the craziest thing ever.
Yeah.
I feel bad for all those people. That would be a really terrible way to go.
Can you imagine?
What are the chances?
It's terrifying. The tank obviously was never rebuilt, and the area where the warehouse was is now a park.
How do they get all their molasses now?
I don't
Do they still sell molasses,
know.
or is it too traumatizing for the town?
I don't know. I should have looked that up.
You should have. Google, do they still sell molasses in Boston?
Obviously, they're going to. Yes, you can still buy molasses in Boston.
But where do they keep it? Or do they just import it? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter. And it was true that people did smell it on hot summer days for decades after.
That's kind of nice.
Not really.
You don't think so? Like
Okay, molasses smells nice, but when you smell that, you just think of what happened.
The trauma.
Yeah.
People have PTSD.
Probably. Yeah. Now, I said the area is now a park. It's called Langone Park.
Uh-huh.
There's a baseball field, a playground, bocce courts.
Ooh, how fun.
A small
Does
plaque.
It smell like molasses?
I don't know, but there is a small plaque commemorating the disaster. And in 2019, on the 100th anniversary of the accident, a ceremony was held in the park. The base of where the tank stood is directly under the baseball diamond, and the 21 names of the victims were read aloud.
Oh, okay.
Despite it being probably the craziest story I'd ever heard, and most unbelievable thing.
Yeah.
The Great Molasses Flood actually happened.
That is crazy.
What are your final thoughts, Sid?
No, I still don't believe you.
It's real. You could Google it.
I will.
Google it.
I'm going to, because that's insane.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if there are pictures from back then.
There's lots of pictures.
Was it crazy?
I mean, it's all in black and white, so it's kind of hard to tell. But,
Yeah, but
there are pictures of, like, people in knee-deep molasses, like, wading through it. It looks like mud or rain, but, yeah. And there was,
wild.
I didn't mention it, but I think an entire bridge collapsed.
Jeez.
From the force of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I really did not think that was a true story from the very beginning.
I was really excited.
Is that why you made pancakes today?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Kind of. And I like pancakes.
Well, I woke up and you just all of a sudden were just making pancakes. And I was like, why are you making pancakes? Now I know. You wanted to tie it into this episode.
Yeah. But also because it was Valentine's Day.
Aww,
yeah.
Thanks. You're the best.
Yeah. You're sweet like molasses.
You're dangerous like molasses. Dang. That was a good one.
Thanks.
We're tied now.
3 and 3.
3 and 3.
Yes.
I need to get the next 7 right in order to win. I'm going to.
It's surprisingly like neck and neck.
This is hard. I've never heard anything except for the Christmas truce. But
yeah, I think I need to stay clear of war.
Yeah, I think so
because
too.
No, not because of the trauma and death, but because it's too easy for you. You're just like true. I already heard that true.
That was only on one episode. Yeah, I think this was a good break from war.
Yeah.
It didn't make me as sad this time. Usually after...
Even though 21 people died?
Yes, but
and dogs and horses.
Okay, yes, that was all very sad. But...
To make it even worse, 2 of the deaths were children.
Stop. See, now I'm sad again.
Yeah, I just had to make you a little
sad.
sad.
All of your stories involve death, even molasses stories. Oh, now I'm sad. But overall, it was kind of a goofy episode.
It was goofy.
So, now you made me feel bad.
Well, you didn't know.
I wonder how many of our listeners are going to guess that one right, because that was hard. That was like expert level.
Thanks. Oh, make me feel real good.
Should we start putting in our captions like level, beginner?
No.
Level, expert. No.
I do appreciate the compliment, though.
Yeah.
All right, Sid.
All right.
That's another episode down.
Yay! Look at us go. Did you know most podcasters don't make it past 3 episodes? Wait, did I say that?
I think you said that last
so
time.
We're better than everybody.
Saying it again.
Never mind.
But that's episode 6.
Yes. We're doing so good. Hashtag goals.
Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on Instagram at History Buffs or Bluffs Pod.
And if you have an idea for an obscure or crazy event in history that you'd like us to cover, you can email it to Kyle at historybuffsorbluffs@gmail.com.
Or if you have an idea of a wild, believable, but fake story, reach out to me and I may write it. And I will give you credit at the end.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us again. Tune in next week for another episode.
Help Sid find out if it'll be a history buff
Or blood.
Have a good week.